Hello and welcome to Innovate. I am your host. My name is Robb. I am the co-founder of the Nsiight shopping app where you can always do your local shopping from home. And we spend a lot of time with local businesses. And we are super excited that you guys are here with us today. We are here in San month. We were featuring a business in Carlsbad, California. So as Nsiight opens in new cities, we will be featuring a local business in your neighborhood very, very soon. So we're going to jump right into it. My guest today is Erin Witt of Repair Lounge, and he's going to walk us through how the legend got started, how everything kind of came to be, how it is now here in the San Diego area, and what the lessons he has learned and what the future looks like. So Erin, if you want to tell us your story.
It's an interesting story, though I'm sure it's like many others. It didn't start off being this. So we started off as a company that sold pagers and cell phones. Actually, if you look further back, we started off as a company that installed car stereos and alarms. So we moved out of that. Many of the companies back then, we began installing cellular phones, and we ended up doing cellular phones for quite a while, which led to selling cellular phone accessories, which everybody said was a crazy thing. That's never going to be a business in itself, which I sort of agreed with, but it did turn into that. And over time, we ended up repairing phones, and we had stores in the malls. There was in the malls, it was quite the adventure. You would rent a little kiosk in the mall for what seemed like a lot of money at the time. They were charging us $2,500 a month for basically 100 square feet, which later on became $6,000 and then $8,000, and from what I understand now, it's about $12,000 that people are paying in malls to rent a kiosk.
Wow.
So we left and we moved into this space as a trial, doing repairs, which is something I've done my whole life, but I never repaired phones. So I've learned more about phone repair than I ever thought I would know. I thought I'll just hire people to do phone repair, which I did, and it didn't work out. So I trained people based on the knowledge I had learned, and now we pretty much know everything. Since we've opened here, we've been open for 5 years. We have done close to 60,000 phones repairs, and as far as iPads, we've probably done probably close to 40,000 iPads, and now we've been selling computers. We buy a lot of used computers, refurbish them, put bigger hard drives and things in them. So a lot of people don't need a computer to build websites. They need a computer to look at the internet, watch some YouTube, and that's about it, really. And they're great. We sell a lot of these Mac computers, which are reliable. We've gone through 380 of those. We, for a while, had MacBooks, which when the pandemic started we couldn't keep them in stock. So we probably sold through 400 or 500 of those, to the point that we're out now. So, but yeah, lessons we've learned along the way. You need to change. If you have an idea of what you're going to do, it's a very fluid idea of what you're going to do, because the economy may not want you to do that thing. If I thought selling coffee in here would make us more money, I would probably do that. Has been considered. But the one lesson that is the biggest lesson is you need to do what it is that people want you to do. If you stick to what you think you should do, you're going to fail, because your one opinion is not nearly as valuable as the thousands of people that walk through your door who tell you what they need. You know, when we started, we thought, oh, we should be jailbreaking phones. That's something people want. Turns out it really isn't what people want. It's, I think, what some people convinced people they wanted. So we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We fix phones. We started off exploring some other shops before we opened this to see what it was that the business was used to. And we went to a bunch of shops that were a guy sitting at a desk with a bunch of dust and dirt around them and kept their head down, and to their credit, they made a living doing this, and they did the one thing they did very well over and over again. And we thought, you know, we went back and forth talking about the style of the store, and everybody says it should be futuristic because phones, you know, they're futuristic. But are they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a phone,
good,
right?
yeah.
So as an electronic device, it doesn't feel like the future to us. It's almost a necessity today. It's what you use for everything. It occupies more of your time than any other activity that you do, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't so.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not futuristic. It's sitting in your living room, it's driving in your car, sitting in the dentist office. It's a thing that you do in your spare time that has moved over into your work time, that has moved over into your drive time, and you know. So we thought, well, we should just make a place that's cool. So
Oh, very cool.
that's what we did. We made a place that was comfortable to sit in, different, interesting, not like anything else. There is one other thing that we thought was important, and that was we should be really honest with everybody. And when I say that, the best example of that is in your phone, in the charging port of an iPhone. You keep it in your pocket, and lint gets in that little port, and then you keep sticking the charger in that port, and it fills the thing with lint until it doesn't stay in there anymore. Most places will sell you a new charging port, which is expensive. It's $110,
Okay.
80 to 100 and up, really. It depends on which phone it is. When really you need to pick it out with a pair of tweezers and clean it, which we do for free.
Well, there you go.
And we lose money on that. But I'd rather have people coming back for real repairs, knowing that we had the integrity to not sell, and maybe they never know, right? Because they come in and they say, I need a new charging port. And we say, you don't. And we fix it for them and they leave happy. The other thing that we've always done is find the best parts, and this is more for me. I don't want anybody coming back. If I buy cheap parts, people are coming back with a problem, and I have to do everything twice. So we buy the best part. I offer a lifetime warranty. If somebody comes back, we can open the phone. It has a sticker on it that we know is ours, and we fix it if there's a problem with it. I mean, if they break it, it's not covered, but questions asked. And they're just give everybody what they want. Don't try and nickel and dime them to death. And if you do your job well, you'll be successful.
Nice. Yeah, that's seems like a common theme in the business world. Listening to your customers, David let us know that was one of the big takeaways that he got. He runs Back to Cali in Carlsbad. So what about the risk, the challenging when you were very first getting started? Tell us a little bit about that part of it.
First, I would never do it again. I have to say, if somebody asked me, well, what kind of business should I start? I don't think I would say you should start a repair business. Things are changing. They've changed a lot since we started, and in the beginning, it was a little piece of a pie, and it was easy. And now it's not so easy. There's everything has gotten more expensive. Everything is, the rents have gone up. There's a lot cheaper ways to make a living.
So
and
you started
a lot less risk.
You started your business in this location, right? Or
We started this business in the mall,
in the mall, the kiosk,
which we've since closed. But when we started, we were selling accessories just in the mall, and we started doing repairs because people asked, "Do you do repairs?" And we kept telling them no. And one day we were having a meeting and said, "Why do we keep saying no? How hard can it be?"
Yeah.
It was harder than we thought, but that's how we got started. And we opened this store and the store in Vista to get an idea of what we should do going forward, which the pandemic kind of slowed us down on that going forward. But that's where we're at. We didn't really start here, so we had a lot of financial backing from our other stores. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have made it. Not with the money we had.
Okay.
The money we had to put into it turned into $500,000 to get started, really.
And how did these other, because you have, well, tell us about your other locations first, I guess.
Well, we kept a location in the Del Amo Mall up in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And we ended up closing that store down because of the pandemic, because of the traffic in the mall was slowing down.
Yeah. So that was your Los Angeles location.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do remember. Yeah,
And so we've moved out of that location. We have the store in Vista. We're looking at opening a store in Escondido and Encinitas, and that probably all would have happened this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah,
since nobody can go out of their house.
And did things change a lot around here with the coronavirus world coming?
It has been a challenge. We've, of course, added the computer sales, and we build custom computers, and we're doing other stuff that we weren't doing before. But as far as just phones, I mean, people still need to fix their phones. Their broken phone isn't going to unbreak itself because there's a pandemic. And Amazon, as far as I know, isn't coming to your house and fixing it for you. So the big Amazon threat to most businesses didn't really apply to a service business. So people would mask up and wash their hands and drive over here. And it's interesting because we don't really have a lot of directions, but a person will come in and stand at the counter, and the next person that shows up waits outside instinctively now. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Or they go to the other side of the store, but
Right.
But it's definitely been a weird time, and we've had pretty good luck not getting sick. Keeping a mask on in the store, keeping our hands washed,
Doing safe practices and all that good stuff.
Taking a lot of vitamin D and whatever, vitamin C.
Drink some orange juice and it'll be good.
Keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah. So the future, you said there will be more locations that you guys are looking at.
Yeah, we're looking at opening up stores that are smaller than this. This is a lot of space that, for the most part, went unused. Obviously now it's being used, and we're out of space in this store. But if we were starting over, we don't need this much space. And the other store is twice as big. You've been to the other store. There's more floor. There's enough floor space to play basketball.
Yeah. So there are Apple computers everywhere in this place right now. So, but I did have a question. The monkey that for your guys' repair lounge logo. How did that start?
So when we first started, we were thinking, hey, we should set this up so that we could franchise it. So we made this fancy wallpaper. We had a style. You know, there's certain elements of the store, the distressed wood, the metal counters, the red wall, which actually is called Flirt Alert. That
okay.
color, it's not red, it's not orange. I don't know what it is. But when the store was first being designed, I'm stressed out. I'm running from here back to LA, driving all the time. And my designer called me on the phone and he said, did you see the design? What did you think? I'm like, well, we have like a 35-foot wall that's red. We should put something on the wall. He's like, no, it's just going to be a red wall. I'm like, it's got to have something on something. We got to have something on the wall.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, like what? I said, maybe a pagoda, like a Japanese pagoda or something. He's like, no, that doesn't send the right signal. I'm like, the Golden Gate Bridge, just a silhouette.
Oh.
No, now I'm frustrated. I said, it could be a monkey talking on the phone. We have to put something on there. He's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. So a few hours later, he sent me back this picture in red, and I laughed. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, monkey talking on the phone. That's what I said. And the next morning, I woke up and looked at it with my fresh eyes and thought, that's the logo. We're doing that logo. And I told him, that's it. We're doing that. He's like, oh, what? That wasn't. Like, nope, that's it. It's perfect. Let's do it. He's like, well, should we put other monkey themed stuff? I'm like, no, it's just the monkey. Well, I could do a bamboo theme on nope, just the monkey. That's it, nothing else. And that's the monkey.
Beautiful. Okay.
This was an actual monkey that I think went into space.
Oh,
But
okay. There
he
you go.
did certain things, talked on the phone, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Press-
and I
press
see
buttons.
at all your locations you have we understand that your phone is important to you. So where did that come when you guys were kind of
That
designing the concept of what you guys were doing, or?
that came afterwards, and this is an interesting thing because we try and get everybody out of here in 30 minutes. So if it's more than 30 minutes, we stress out. Like 30 minutes, you know, like I said, your phone is your everything.
Yeah.
And people come in here, and if it's going to be a day, because I have to order a part, people don't want to be without their phone. So I understand that it's important. I want them to know up front, I understand that it's important, but I don't have every part for every repair. I have a lot of parts for most repairs. But occasionally there's a time where you got to wait a day. You know, some computer parts might take 3 days, 4 days if they're coming, 12 days if they come from China. But when I went and looked at other stores, one of the issues was they didn't seem to care. They just didn't care that I didn't want to be without my phone.
Oh, okay. There
And
you go.
so, you know, it was important that you as a customer understand when you come in that I understand what you're feeling when you don't have your phone. There's a process we go through. When you're talking on your phone, it's a phone. When you're sitting in a chair at the doctor's office, it could be your email, or it could be a YouTube video, or it could be a game, you know, a crossword puzzle. It could be checking your Facebook. It could be all these things. And when a customer leaves their phone, they usually wander around in the center and go shopping. They come back and I ask them, how was it? And they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize how important, how much I used it. Because it's not just a phone. You're not on your phone all the time. But when you stop and you're like, oh, I could call, oh no, I don't, I left it at the repair shop. And then they realize, oh, well, I could just check my email. Oh no, that's on the phone. A few minutes go by and they're like, I could just look at my Facebook. Oh, I don't have my phone. And that's really, we understand this.
Yeah.
We do it too. I mean, I hang out with my family, right? And we're all sitting on our phone. Am I really with my family, or am I on my phone?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be so important. But I understand that it is more so for certain people than others, but it's very important. I use it for business.
Yeah.
Use it to make videos.
I know you added the computer. You were adding this computer center. Is that just a newer, or were you guys always doing that? You just have an actual.
We have added that in the last 2 years.
Oh, okay. More doing computers.
We did a little bit of computers. With the pandemic, we now do a lot of computers. And it's, I don't know if it's because we're doing computers or because people are now using these computers that they had stuck in a closet. You know, their laptop or their old computer that sat on the desk, and they didn't use it because they used their phone. It's convenient, it's easy. You don't, why do I even need a computer? And now they have Zoom calls. The battery doesn't last very long on your phone for Zoom calls, so now you have a computer and it breaks. The hard drive fails. If you let it sit for 5 years, now you try and use it, it's going to be slow, it's going to be laggy, you're going to lose data. And so now people realize they had a problem where they didn't realize before. And so now they're fixing. That seems to be the most common thing, is we're replacing hard drives because they do fail. The old mechanical drives they've reached their life. They're done.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the solid state drive, it's like a bicycle versus a Ferrari. The solid state drives are just so much faster.
That's where it's at right now. Yeah. So, but I also see that you are a big Apple. Do you focus on Apple products?
We don't.
Okay. It just happens to work out that way.
Yeah. I think the reason we see so much Apple product is it's worth fixing. Whereas, you know, a PC that you bought 6 years ago, it's done. It's reached its life expectancy. A Mac can be 10 years old and it still works great. It looks nice too.
Yeah.
You know, people that have a MacBook, they love that MacBook. People that have a PC laptop, they don't love it so much. I don't know. They don't want to put a lot of money into it because it doesn't hold its value like the Apple products. We don't choose, oh, well, we'd rather take your Apple product. That's just what people fix.
Just the way that it works. Okay.
I mean, we do fix a lot of PCs, but yeah, if you look around in here, it is kind of Apple-centric.
Yeah, because I was saying you got computers here, and now that Apple's getting into the car game, that you guys will have the cars coming in over here to repair their smart cars.
That'd be great.
But yeah, we will open it up for any questions that you guys have. You guys can send them in. Anything you have, if you guys are curious more about Erin's story, and if you guys are trying to start a business of your own, any lessons learned while we have a...
I don't want to discourage anybody, but...
Yeah, so he's here to inspire all of us. But so I know you have the Iron Man at your other store. How did you get a hold of that?
The Iron Man was James. He worked with us when he helped build the store. I mean, he's amazing. He's moved on. He's now doing other stuff, but he was really into superheroes, and we thought it would be great if we had a Hulk in the store.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right, and the 12 feet tall Hulk in the store that we had with the 16-foot ceilings in the mall. It was this huge store. Would have been great. It was really expensive. And he had to convince me that it was worth spending the money on buying a superhero, and he was really into Iron Man. So yeah, we got an Iron Man, bought it from the Philippines.
Wow, yeah, that thing is awesome when you walk in there. So we have a couple questions. What is your background? Did you study computer science?
I did not study computer science. My background is electronics. I did electronics from as far back as I can remember. I think I was
Just tinkering with stuff?
yeah, 6 years old. Everything I got, I would take apart and put back together. My mom hated it. She'd buy me a new toy or new something. She bought me a stereo. I tore it all apart because I had to figure out how it worked and how it made things louder. So I didn't go to school for electronics. Actually, I shouldn't say I didn't go to school. I didn't specifically go to school to learn what I do now. I went to school for electronics, and all through high school, I was in the military. I did electronics in the military, mostly aviation electronics, same principles.
What branch of the military?
In the Air Force,
Oh, very
aviation.
cool. Awesome. Yeah, there you go.
It was, we worked on a lot of smart bombs and, test. It was not my thing.
What year was this, the Air Force?
85 through 89.
Oh, it's a good year.
Yes, well, everybody tells me it was. I missed 4 years of American life, which, believe me, there is a missing 4 years. There's a whole bunch of songs that I hear for the first time. People are like, "Oh, you like that song?" I'm like, "That's great. I've never heard this. It's been playing on the radio for years."
It's kind of like 5 years behind.
Like, you've never heard. But yeah, electronics. I used to. I was talking about this early. I remember when everybody was getting color televisions from black and white televisions, and this is kind of my entrepreneurial first adventure into selling electronics. I came home from school and I'm walking down my street, and there's all these televisions on the curb waiting to be picked up by the trash man. So of course I ran home and got my wagon and got them all. Put them in my backyard, and my mom was like, "What are you doing with all these televisions?" And, they had the tubes in them, so you could take them out and go down to the little hardware store, and there's a machine. You'd stick it in, press a button, and if it was red, it was bad. If it was green, it was good. If it was bad, they were a nickel, so I'd buy a new one. And I'd come home with a bag and put them all back into the TV, and they would work. And then I would sell them in my driveway on the weekends for like $40 or $50, because not everybody was upgrading from a black and white to a color. People didn't have a TV, so now they could buy a working black and white TV.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and I kind of went from
there. That's the innovation right there.
Right.
And how old were you during that time?
I was probably 10.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, I would sell anything. Like, I literally would sell. I made macrame pot holders and sold them to my neighbors. I made marionette puppets.
Oh, nice.
That were birds, with some rope and feet. They were real basic, but I saw it on the Muppet Show.
Okay.
And I'm like, I could make that. So I made them and wrapped them up in plastic and sold them, painted them, sold them to my neighbors.
So you've always had kind of that entrepreneurial.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to do if you're going to be a business person, you have to have a drive that's unstoppable, because a lot of business is discouraging. Mm-hmm. Constantly. You think everything's working great, and then something changes, and now you've got to work just as hard as you did to get to that place to keep everything the same as it was. So as time goes on, you're working harder and harder and harder. And one day you might make a whole bunch of money and go home and rest and relax. Mm-hmm. But you may not, and you have to be ready for both. If you're happy with what you have, you're always happy. Yeah. If you think that you're gonna get rich and buy 10 cars to put in your 10-car garage, that's a good dream. But if you don't get it, and that's your only drive in life, you're never gonna be happy. Yeah. Be happy with what you have. Do the best you can. That's it. That's all you can do.
We'll take another question. We got what is your favorite part about being a business owner, and your least favorite part?
My favorite part is Yeah, that's a good question. My favorite part, actually, my favorite part, I think, is creating the business in the beginning. My least favorite part is operating the business once it's been created. And I've done a lot of businesses, from selling old black and white TVs to a coffee shop. I had a nightclub. I sold furniture. I had a teddy bear stuffing company. I sold Christmas ornaments. I installed car stereos and alarms. I sold pagers and cell phones. And I've had a lot of businesses. And the businesses I started, somebody else did it better and with more money. And, teddy bear stuffing. There's another company now that seems to have blown that up. Yeah. But for a while, I was the one.
So in all these ventures, you probably take away something each time and
you
grow
learn.
as a...
And again, I think the biggest lesson about really anything that you do, if you're flexible in what you do, you'll be successful. Don't think that your original business plan is the only thing, because it's just a direction. It's not the end result. The end result could be a repair shop when I started selling pagers. I mean,
yeah.
If I was like solid on pagers still, I probably wouldn't be doing so.
Yeah, so a lot of your success was just adapting and seeing what works.
And look around. What do people need? If I was starting a business today, I think as this pandemic hopefully winds down, we're going to experience the roaring 20s, but these are now the 2020s. The last pandemic led to the actual roaring 20s of the 1920s. People were in a pandemic prior to that. It was the Spanish flu. Now we're going to experience the same thing. People are going to want to go out. They're going to want to be around people. They're going to want to dance. They're going to want to eat. They're going to want to spend money. And it will create a new economy that's going to be something more than fixing phones. I think I've had a nightclub in the past, but it was at a time when there was a lot of nightclubs. So now nightclubs have closed down. Now if you started, I think you could make it as a nightclub. Make it something special, something that, post-pandemic, it's going to be amazing.
Oh, so that's kind of the industry you think that will...
I think service industry, the service industry, I think, is going to be the future. Because people have all the stuff they need. Part of the appeal, I think, of stuff, just stuff in general, was the collecting of the stuff. You would go to the mall. You would stroll through the mall. You find some things in a store. Wow, isn't that a neat thing? And you would buy it and you'd take it home and you'd look at it and you'd say, wow, hey, I bought this thing. You should come and look at it. It's neat. They come and they look at it and they agree. That's a neat thing. And then you put it on a shelf and you go out the next week and you get another thing. And we did this for years. And I think through the pandemic, people are sitting in their house looking at all these things that they've bought over the years and wondering, why did I buy all this stuff?
Yeah.
What is it making me... Now I'm at home. I could enjoy it. Is it making me happy? And it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, they love the things. But for a lot of people, they're realizing life isn't about the things. It's about friends. It's about experiences. It's about shared experiences. You know, I never realized going out to eat was such a big thing for me. I like going out to eat. Not because I like to eat, although I like to eat. It's because I get to go and see people and see the effort that somebody put into making a meal and making it special. It's not, it's not just thrown at me. It's not something I have to eat to survive. It's something I get to eat and enjoy what somebody else has done. I just think the next big business will be something in service. I don't know what that something is. If I did, I would already be doing it.
There you go. There you go.
But-
Some insider knowledge.
That's what I think. I think selling stuff is on the realm of the internet, and on the internet you can collect things that aren't real. You can collect pictures of the things you like on Pinterest. You can collect videos that you like, and they're real things to you. They're in your head, but you don't need all the stuff. You don't need a giant house anymore. You need a place to keep your electronics, and the rest is life. The rest is experiences.
Yeah. And how do you think the phone industry is changing or?
I think they're running out of reasons for us to buy a new phone.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, a phone that you would buy today that you're going to spend $1,000 on is certainly better than a phone you bought 10 years ago. But it isn't much better than a phone you bought 5 years ago. And the same thing has happened with computers. You know, I can remember a time where people were buying a new computer every 9 months because it became outdated. Suddenly memory's cheaper, or something is better, so you go out and you buy another thing. And it happened with phones for many years. And I think we're at the point where, I mean, I saw a phone the other day that came in with a 128 megapixel camera in a phone. Why do you need this?
Why?
The best photographers use digital cameras that are 64 megabits, and it's more information in your photo than you will ever need. Now, if you're going to blow it up and put it on the side of a building, you probably need a 128 megapixel camera, but we're not doing that. We're saving pictures this big in our phone.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What else are you going to do? Make it faster, which is great. Make it better. There isn't much better. I don't think you can. I don't think you can make it much better. The screen. I mean, already we've gotten to the point now where we're putting screens on the phone. Some of the new Samsung LCD, the screens. I don't want to go into all the terminology. The screens on them are super high resolution. The technology is the absolute latest thing that's come out. It's not on your TV yet. It's just on your phone. But it's a phone. Why do we need such high resolution on a phone? It's still only this big. How? I mean, if it's the clearest picture ever, I'm still looking at it this big. Now, if I had that on a 100-inch TV, now that's something special. But on my phone, and it drives the price of the phone up. And somehow we've been convinced that we need a better and better and a better thing. And I don't think so.
Yeah, I know with phones, they'll go big, and now having a big phone is cool, and then they'll go small again, and having a small phone is cool. And so I have seen some of the changes with that, kind of like how you were saying with computers were like that too for a while.
Yes.
But I do know, like with television's kind of going more because people are spending more time, kind of like how you said, on your phone.
Makes sense on a television.
There is more wear and tear on your phone now, because they are, obviously trying to get your attention whenever they can get it, which nowadays is pretty much all the time.
Yeah, all the time. And they're invasive. They take up time that we should spend doing something else.
They got those push notifications that'll, hey, oh yeah, right.
Remember me? I'm still in your phone.
Yeah.
No, which is, and honestly, there's some of those things that I'm sure we need. Like, it's important. I get a reminder telling me to drink water, which I never do. But I still get the reminder. Hey, don't forget to drink water.
Yeah.
It's great. It tells me I should walk, 10,000 steps. Oh, you're only at 8,000. You need to get some more steps in.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff that I think is probably important. It tells there's watches now that can tell you if you're going to have a heart attack. That's important.
There you go.
But it's we lived for many years without all these things.
Yeah, so when you were going through, since you were, before everything kind of got crazy with the way the world is now, so you remember, has a lot changed as far as your world, as far as like how everything, the technology has
Um,
improved?
yeah. Um, so having electronic devices in your life, when they were first introduced, the computer was this thing that was going to help us with work, right? It was going to make our life easier. It's You can type on it and erase things without having to literally erase things. You could make as many copies as you wanted, because before you would take two pieces of paper with a piece of carbon paper, and you'd put it in your typewriter and you'd type it, and if you made a mistake you could only correct it on the front sheet. You couldn't fix it on the back sheet because it's the copy. So the idea of all this stuff was great when it came out. And I think it was great up until it became a competition for our moments. And so we have all these companies now that want a little moment from us, which would be okay, but there's so many companies that they all want a moment, and they've come up with these great ways to get our moments from us. Look at this ad, watch this video, do this thing, and they're telling us what we want to hear so that we look more. And whether you're right or wrong, they'll give you more of that. If you think you need to know more about space, they'll send you all kinds of information about space, more than you'd ever want to know. True or not, they don't care. They just want you to look at it. Controversial? Oh yeah, people love controversy. Get them to watch something that's controversial. And so I feel like before we would communicate with each other, hey, I read in the newspaper that such and such thing, and then we could both say, that's crazy. And we agree, oh, that's crazy. That's not a real thing. And it literally would disappear. Now, today, I tell you, oh man, did you read this thing in the newspaper? And you're going to be like, yeah, I saw a video about it, and so said that blah, blah, blah. And another guy, he said that he experienced the same thing. Nobody experienced it. It's all made up. Not all of it, but a lot of it's made up. And so now we're believing things. There's a whole society that thinks the earth is flat. If anybody thinks the earth is flat, I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend, but I'm pretty sure it's round. Well, we went into space and looked back at it, and all the other things are round. It would be weird if ours was flat.
Yeah, science is changing, but not that much.
Right.
But yeah, so I remember when email, you get that you've got mail feeling, because you would actually read, because that was back when. So
Right.
so I do notice the difference between how it is now. You don't read every email that you're getting typically.
And you're probably not excited about them anymore.
Yeah, so I have seen kind of like the deadening on your senses in that area for sure.
Yeah, we expect so that we're disappointed, and most of the time you don't get it. I think we got a lot more excitement out of the experiences and the things that we did, rather than all the little moments that excite us now, because they're not really our moments anymore. They're manufactured for us based on what we think or what we like or what we liked yesterday. So it seems like I've liked the same thing now for the last 10 years.
Yeah, so it does mess with things a lot. But we're going to wrap it up here. Erin, where can we find you?
Well, we're in the Grand Plaza in San Marcos. It's the center right off of Las Posas, off the 78. Plenty of other reasons to come here, but I'd like to think we're the best. There's a Sprouts. We're right across from Party City. We can see it out our window. And we have another location in Vista that's by the Food for Less, right off of Vista Village Drive. You can't miss it. We've got lots of lights. And like you said, there is an Iron Man staring at you when you walk in.
Yes, be sure to check out the Iron Man at their Vista location if you guys are local A lot of the hardware I bought here at the Repair Lounge because they also sell a lot of stuff here. And yeah, thank you, Erin, for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
And thank you guys for joining us and listening to Erin's come up story, the rags to riches story here. So we will see you guys on the next episode. Be sure to like,